Let me help y'all. Close.
The WVON lineup, chat room, blogs,
Check out young MJ.
on the World Wide Web at WVON.com. It's time for the WVON Morning Show social media question of the day. Call 773-591-1690.
Watch out, young MJ finna bust y'all in the middle of the game. Just to get by. He gonna interrupt your broadcast. See my little man getting this ball on? You are tuned into the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. And I'm trying to figure out, y'all, social media question of the day. What do black people need to do to get ahead in Illinois? You know what I think, y'all? I want to know, what do we need to get ahead? What fixes the problems? You know, we got so many problems as black folks. This city of Chicago is blowing up. People are getting theirs, but it just seems like black Chicagoans are not. I mean, think about this. Ed Burke gets a federal investigation. He makes more money. More money. Meanwhile, black elected officials can't put the money on the board to be able to resist when the people come to get you. How do we get together, y'all? How do we make this happen? Let's go to the phone lines. Mr. Pierce, you want to talk Chicago. How do black people in Illinois get ahead?
Man, stay at it. You're a boy. You are the new Lou Palmer. But what I want to say, right there on 79th Street, they opened up a new place, 79th and Woodlawn. Check it out. It's called Woodlawn. But what my thing is, I would like to take that Sears building and turn it into a casino so we stop taking our money out of state. It's got the parking, it's got the location right there by Stony Island, it's access to everybody, and also I'm a concert promoter. And instead of us going to Hammond for all our concerts with the Chi-Lites and all these other groups, we go right there to Target. Turn Target on 87th Street into a concert venue.
I say that every year about Ravinia, that we all drive all the way out to Deerfield to see Anita Baker, when most of the people there probably live somewhere between 39th Street and out south, when we could have just done that at Oakwood Street Beach.
And now, I'm going to say this.
South Shore Cultural Center.
I'm going to say let me check this out. So, I got to support the people that support the WVON show. And Ravinia spins here, right? Ravinia says, so they recruit.
It's a nice experience. I'm just saying, how long do you drive? How long do you parade through Highland Park?
I think here's what I'm saying. I am saying that we need to build our own.
Right.
I don't know if building a casino.
I'm not saying replace Ravinia. I'm saying
let's just let Ravinia.
Why are we? No, yeah. I'm not saying replace Ravinia. What I'm saying is take that and create. So
I'm gonna tell you, Michael Scott, 24th Ward Alderman, attempted to do that. That's what the West Side Music Festival is about, okay. Right? And creating a Ravinia-like experience. So that's why they went. Actually, it was Michelle Benson who started with Mike, and they put that together. And they had the land, the space. The black folks was like, man, we ain't coming out west.
That's my point.
The white folks, though, what?
It's one thing to transport people to a nicer area.
Man, white people go all the time, and here's what happens. And this is where people mess up. It's like you have to make your area nicer, right? Like, what happens is white folks come and they see our neighborhoods, and they say, oh, this is, you see it as, and they see it as nice. Yeah, they see it as they can fix it.
Why you keep trying to?
So if I build Ravinia on the west side, and you as a black person say, I'm not going out west, and I got everything Ravinia got.
I think you skipped a step,
what?
Right? So So you'd go from taking South Side Black people to north to north. Why not do your version of Ravinia on the South Side? Now you don't have to take people too far. Look at Silver Room Block Party. Look at Hyde Park Brew.
I'ma say
you want to take a bunch of first of all, let's just be real. In Chicago, there's the South Side, West Side. I'm from the South Side. You ask a South Side person what side they from, they look at you like you can't tell.
So
do it on the South Side. No, if you were trying to get West Side people to go to West Side Music Fest, then you wouldn't have a problem. But you're trying to get South Side people to you're putting up barriers. Do it on the South Side.
And I'm suggesting that you can't say don't go to. So you just said this is what I'm saying. I'm not
go to Ravinia.
No. This one. Let me get my statement out. Let's just stop talking about. Okay, let's stop talking about Ravinia though. Right? Let's go to the fact that if you just said don't drive past, we drive them past to go way up somewhere else. The South Side, the West Side, the same discrimination then is happening, right?
No,
so
I
if
said
you
did it again.
What?
I said don't drive past your neighborhood to go somewhere else. Just because the West Side is predominantly black, also that's not who's going to Ravinia primarily. You just took people out of the South Side. You just took people out of the South Side to go north. So now you're still going to take them to the South Side to go west. Keep it in their backyard.
I'm going to say one more time. Bill, it's like, one more time. What I'm suggesting is wherever we build our stuff, because you got to do it where you got the opportunity, right? So I don't care. You got to build where you got the opportunity, where you have land, right? So the largest open available land masses that are available to do it, and I don't want to get stuck on that. And it's not just even the West Side. What I'm suggesting is we think there's something better to going to that anyway. How do we get ahead though? Like how do we build something for ourselves and not just entertainment? Because I feel like even as we talked about that, like we just went down the entertainment path venue, which is a piece of what we need, but we need infrastructure. We need the things that grow. How do black people in Illinois get ahead? Look, it's the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. We got guests coming in, so we'll talk about it all when we come back to Talk Chicago 1690.
WVON.
Example, it's the same thing in entertainment, whatever. See what they're doing and copy it. Just copy it. Like now we walk and it's like no stores, there's no commerce in our thing. Why not go to Wicker Park? Why not go to Lincoln Park? Why not go and like, wait, on this corner there's a coffee shop. We drink coffee. On this corner there's a kids store. We got kids. On this corner there's a restaurant. We eat breakfast. It's like I feel like we act like, oh, we don't know what to do when it's being done. And we are leaving our community to go there. Why not just take the blueprint and make it happen?
I think there's way more steps. So I think you've got a conditioning situation, right?
Right.
There's a conditioning situation. Like if you live here and you're capable, no one says I'm going to. If you live in this neighborhood and you're capable, you don't say I'm going to shop at the Target on 87th. You say, man, I'm not going around them. I'm going to the one on Roosevelt, or I'm going to the.
Because of the quality of it.
It's not because Target made it a less quality store. It is because the people in the surrounding area treat the store, not everybody, but if I have an option, I'm not going to go to the store that the riffraff goes to if they're going to bust open the stuff and I can go to a store where everything is open, right? And so until you bring your community up to say when something comes, and they're less likely to respect it as black, right? And we more scared of what white people will say about us and do to us than what black people will do to us.
You mean by doing your own? We're scared of what they'll say as it relates to.
I think that oftentimes what the challenge for black people is we are undercapitalized. So you don't even start at the same place. And if I go to a restaurant or if I go to a place and your bathroom, I got to tell you to restock the toilet paper in the bathroom. And I just think that we have a lot of, let's do this when somebody else is.
What's your value?
Hi, how are you?
Me.
Hey, Ed, how are you? Good to see you. All right.
Where do you want me to sit?
Sit right there, and that's good.
But you know what? Let me get.
Ed, this is Quinn.
Hey, Quinn. How are you?
I mean, I think that the challenge becomes how, there's no real thought, in my estimation. There's not really been a thought of a plan forward. I think that there's a bunch of disparate thoughts. Try that chair. Todd!
What?
Yeah, okay, you're coming. I was just checking. I didn't know if you could hear me. I just thought you were gone. He's changing the chair. I think that there's no black think tank. I think that we need a think tank, we need a PAC, and we need a political arm.
Who's responsible for the execution?
I mean, you'd have to get people to buy into it and believe, and then you'd have to it all has to be put together. So there's a plan for rebuilding the black infrastructure. I've written it, right? Presented it to quite a few people. The challenge is it requires us to self-finance, and I keep saying most of the black millionaires are not self-made black millionaires. They are millionaires made by government. So if you're a government-made millionaire, then you're invested in making sure that you protect that status quo. So if I tell you how to break the machine, your money's gonna get cut. So you're not gonna be a bond. Again, none of our business, when this was Soft Sheen, there were 800 employees here that were going home, that had a tax check, that were going to build their families, but they went to the stores and they bought stuff from the stores, and so they didn't have to wait they spoke for their constituency. So when they said to Harold, we're putting in because we're tired of getting jacked, Mayor Daley or nobody else couldn't say, we'll cut you off. As those black-made millionaires, this was the largest concentration of black millionaires in the country. As that went away and as they started to move those millionaires to dependency, right, or subsidized, then we lost the independence. And then what they also did was all of these companies got bought out, right? And none of the families continued the legacy, so we didn't build generational wealth. Ed, welcome to the WVON Morning Show. How are you?
Terrific.
All right, the new Chicago. So let me tell you why I'm really impressed before we talk about this book.
Weather.
Backrack saved my life when I was a young account executive.
Oh my God.
Yes, when I was a young account executive and I got my first job where I had to wear suits every day, Backrack was the place you could go, and I used to always go to the sale rack, right? But you could go to the sale rack and you would look immaculate. And I remember that book that used to come out, and everybody would come out. And on Sundays, like once I started learning about styles, we would all sit in that book and put clothes and stuff. You don't remember the Backrack catalog? I'm like excited about the Backrack catalog. You're like, I've moved on. So you now are you've written a book.
Yes,
With Austin Burke.
that's right.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that today, but I am going to talk about Backrack because I think there's a lot of men that. How are you today?
I'm terrific.
Okay, so did he tell you you're on Facebook and YouTube?
He didn't tell me, but that's fine with me. I don't have much of a face for that. I've got a great face for radio.
Uh-oh, I think I just killed our stream, guys. Yikes. I did. So we're back. Did he get your headphones? Check those headphones. Make sure they're all good. Are those yours, Quinn? Yeah. Too loud? They're good? Can you hear? Too loud?
A little bit loud.
Is that you? Who am I? Is that better? Okay.
That's low.
Yes. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson, and y'all know how we do at the top of the hour. Gotta say what's up to the WVON Morning Show team. What's up to Miss Quinn Bryant? She is sitting in. She will be here with us. She has been here all week on a Wednesday. And y'all, you know what? We getting out of here a little early today, 8:23, because we have the Urban Business Roundtable download. Also, don't want to let our seniors forget. We've got the WVON Senior Breakfast this Saturday, December 8th. It's at 114th and the Bishop Ford. That's right, at House of Hope. We got so much going on. We got Aretha Franklin not impersonators. We got an Aretha Franklin tribute. We're going to have games. We're going to have bingo. All the seniors. We got piping hot breakfast. It's free for everybody under 65. If you're 65 and older, $8. $8, but I'm going to tell you it's a great time. Got to say big shouts out to all of our sponsors. You know what? Woo! Next Level Health. Look, 311. You got Attorney Ted London with Chicago title. Oh, wow. You know what? It's so many sponsors, I can't think of them all. I'll get back to them on the next go round. You know, I was trying to freestyle that one. Look. But like I said, I got to say what's up to the morning show team. What's up to Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, as well as Miss Sonia Escobar. All right, y'all. So, you know, I get a lot of people. You know, I like to try and expose the WVON family to a wide variety of people, places, opinions, and thoughts. Sometimes not so much the conventional way that we've approached things, and try to give you some new guests. And today we have with us author and businessman. And I'm gonna tell you, I gotta tell my story to the audience first, right? Because we got a new, Ed Backrack is here with us. Him and Austin Burke have written a book called The New Chicago Way. And it talks about a lot of what's going on in Chicago politics, the way we are, why elections happen, and we're gonna get into that. But as I was reading the bios, I was like, Ed Backrack. And I was like, Backrack? Now, I was like, is that like a real name? Because Backrack has a sentimental meaning to me, right? How many of y'all remember the Backrack clothing stores, right? The Backrack clothing stores was in North Riverside. You might find one. Look, Todd's got a Backrack suit on right now. The Backrack catalog used to come in the mail. And at family gatherings, all the fellas would sit around, and I would start at the front end of the book where it was the less expensive suits, and by the time you got to the back, it was the ones I was like, one day. And so when I found out that Ed wrote this book, I was like, I'm going to be honest. I was like, we got to get him in the studio just because I thought it was, man, it just meant so much back in the day. How many people bought a suit from Backrack? What, North Riverside? You were in York, you were everywhere. So first of all, just tell me a little bit about that. How did you get started in that business? And then we'll talk about the book.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about the business, but Mace, thank you for your business.
Okay.
I think those suits that you bought, I paid $150 for, and you bought them for $99. So that's not a winning proposition, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So go ahead.
Business.
Yes.
It was a birth defect. I was the fourth generation of a family business.
Okay.
My great-grandfather was Jewish immigrant.
Okay.
Living on the streets of Baltimore in 1865. He got a job selling civilian suits to returning Civil War soldiers, and that's how they got into clothing business.
What?
They moved to Illinois and opened a store, and they had stores all over, but he opened a store in Decatur, Illinois in 1877. And when I was a kid, we had one store and 15 employees, and I just grew up working in the store.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, that Backrack was it's great memories. So I just felt like that was good. But you're here for a whole different reason. That's right. You are here today to talk to us about The Chicago Way. It's a new book that you and Austin Burke. Now, why does Austin Burke sound so familiar? I've seen a lot of emails with his name on it because you guys are really talking about the structure of Illinois and the way things are done. You guys wrote a book called The New Chicago Way?
That's right.
Talk to me about the book. What's it about?
So, first of all, Austin Burke is the senior content editor at the Illinois Policy Institute.
Uh-oh.
And we're a bit of a mutt and Jeff. I'm 69 years old. He's 25 years old. He's got me by about 1.5 feet. So, what we found is that, first of all, everybody understands that Chicago has problems.
Does everybody realize it? Because I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't realize Chicago had problems until I went somewhere else. Right? I didn't realize how I thought was so much. I don't think if you don't live in Chicago and you haven't been in a lot of places, you don't realize how different this is.
Yes.
So go ahead, I'm sorry.
So that is the whole premise of our book. And that is, Chicago's got problems. People don't realize how bad they are. They don't realize why we have these problems, and they don't know what they can do about it. And that includes people that have lived in this neighborhood and other established neighborhoods in Chicago for decades. It also includes young professionals that are new to town, been here 5-10 years, that don't have any idea what goes on in the city.
So talk to me.
And so this is the first comprehensive book ever written that looks at the government structure in the city of Chicago.
And what did you find in your studies?
We found a number of things.
Okay.
By every measure of municipal performance, Chicago is by far worse than other major cities. And we looked at the top 15 cities of the United States as our comparison in every single chapter. Number two, it is that way because the city government consistently makes very poor decisions.
Give me an example of the poor decisions that they make.
Well, I mean, the most glaring example that we give a lot of ink to is selling the right to receive parking receipts for 75 years. That was rushed through city council in 48 hours. And we sold all of our parking meter revenue for 75 years. That's longer than most people are gonna live.
So how does something like that happen? How do things like that happen? And I know we put a lot of that on the alderman, but where is the city? One of the things that I always say is, where is the outrage for the things like this that happen?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. How did it happen and where is the outrage?
Yes.
It happened because we have a government that is designed intentionally so that you only elect one person, the mayor, and the mayor controls everything in city government. That's not the case in other major cities. It is the case in Chicago. And so they do this, and they burden the city, and then they borrow money. So they try to work both ends against the middle. They try to give everybody in certain neighborhoods a nice city. They short other neighborhoods. In the meantime, they borrow money and they put the city in debt. And that's why a big part of the book is all about our finances too. So you can see how they're just living on borrowed money.
Now, when you say living on borrowed money, what do you mean by living on borrowed money?
Well, it means a number of different things. Most of the city government and its related entities, schools, and we also focus on the McCormick Place, Metropolitan Pier and Exhibition Authority. They do whatever they want and they borrow the money, just like on a credit card. And that's why we have the highest per capita debt of any major of the top 15 cities in the United States. And our pension debt, which everybody's heard about, they can't even fathom. We have more pension debt than 44 of the 50 states in the United States.
Wait. So now, and how do we get this? Why are we so out of line? I understand that we've been making poor decisions, but why do we keep making these poor decisions? And I keep seeing that everybody's saying that, like the Fitch, I don't understand the reasoning behind the poor decisions and how does it affect us long term? Because I'm never gonna have to pay that bill off.
Okay, so there is the answer. So first of all, a pitch for the book. We have chapters that look at all these problems and we try to boil them down and explain it in a way that the average person can understand it. And we come up with concrete positive solutions of what you can do about it.
Now
the pension debt, that has arisen because we've had city government led by a mayor for decades, that didn't want to pay up the amount that was required to fund the pensions. They'd rather use the money for something else, or they'd rather keep taxes low so that people would get a break.
Wait, so are you trying to raise taxes?
Well, let's put it this way. The city has pension debt of $42 billion.
Wait,
Pension debt of $42 billion. Now, I want to give you a little example, so people can get a scale.
okay.
1 million seconds. How long is 1 million seconds? I'm gonna answer that.
Okay.
It's a little over 11 days.
Okay.
How long is 1 billion seconds?
I don't know.
32 years.
Ooh, times 42. Hey, y'all, that's a lot. Look, when we come back, you know what? This Chicago way, I want to talk about this a little bit more because I want to know how. I don't think that people really get it. I think that we just trudge along and we just pay whatever they tell us to pay, and we hope that it's going to, and as long as the ATM works and as long as my water turns on, I just say it's a cost of doing business in the city. But is it going to become untenable at some point? Look, we'll talk about it all when we come back. It's Talk Chicago 1690.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up on the Talk of Chicago.
I want you to go ahead. Yes.
First of all, how am I doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're doing fine.
And how long are we gonna go? Just so I don't have any deadline.
You got 12 more minutes.
Okay.
Yep,
good.
you got 12 minutes and then it'll be at 7:30.
Okay.
So, Ed, so some of the things I saw, why do you say the elections are in the winter?
Yes.
Why?
They are intentionally designed to suppress voter turnout.
What?
In the table, it takes an average of 258,000
Quinn,
votes.
move that mic for me. Would you just pull it out of his face? All right, go ahead. You're on the camera.
Okay.
You're talking. You're on Facebook Live right now.
So, because voter turnout is suppressed, it's half of what it is in a presidential election. You only need 258,000 votes to get elected mayor in a city of 2.7 million. So it's less than 10%. Now, originally, it was designed so that the political hacks could get their ward organization out. They would vote for their incumbents, and they would get reelected. That's evolved a little bit right now, but it's still special interests. So the special interests come out to vote, and everybody else, you're working, you can't get out because it's cold or it's snowing. The snowbirds are in Florida, and the professionals are out traveling at a conference somewhere. And so nobody votes for the municipal elections. Nobody cares. Nobody thinks they can do anything about it anyway.
Can we do something about it?
Yes, you can.
What? Wait, no, save it. We'll save that for air. We'll save that for on the air. Talk to me about your the climate to do business in Illinois compared to other places.
Well, that's not the subject of the book.
Okay.
I have my own opinion.
You can tell them off but that's not the book. You can talk about it on the off.
Yeah. I think the biggest negative for a business person is uncertainty and no consideration of the citizens and the taxpayers. And the uncertainty comes with the finances. When you look at the finances in the state of Illinois, which is their bonds are junk status, and they've got pension debt troubles too. Any businessman coming here is going to look at that and say, when you got this kind of debt, it's tax increases in the larva stage. It's not now, but it's going to come later. So why would you make a long-term commitment here? Anybody that thought Amazon was going to locate here was fooling themselves. But what they don't realize is we're deporting the equivalent of an Amazon from Chicago and Illinois every year by having higher taxes, so that businesses that are considering coming here or are already here, relocating elsewhere. We get a lot of headquarters coming to Chicago. They bring in 100 people, and they think it's a big coup. But the population of Chicago is declining, and you'll see that most neighborhoods in Chicago, the jobs are declining, just as you were describing this neighborhood.
Man, is there any hope?
Yes, there is.
Uh-oh. Any question? I'm still tripping on that.
The election. The election.
So we talk about that in politics. I mean, we used to pray for snow on election day. Because I knew that the only people voting were my people. When I was a precinct captain. That's how he just verified it.
Yeah.
All of the voter suppression tactics that they're trying to stop everywhere else were invented in Illinois.
That is one definition of the Chicago way.
Where can we get?
Oh, we're back. We're back.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Sitting in with me is Miss Quinn Bryant. She'll be here with me for the rest of the week, but we are talking to author. I got two authors here. Quinn just wrote What Would Jay-Z Do? That'll be out around Christmas. And we got Ed Backrack. He has written a book with Austin Burke, and it is called The Chicago Way. Now, before we get into, because we've been talking a lot about the problems, I'm going to ask you about your solutions, but while we were on the break, Quinn was fascinated, and I saw it in our show notes. You described why Chicago elections are held in the wintertime. Just give us a little background from your perspective.
Yes. So Chicago is the only, we look
Closer to the mic. Yeah.
we look at the top 15 cities in the United States.
Okay.
And we look at when they hold their elections.
Okay.
We're the only one that holds it in the last Tuesday in February. And more than half of them hold it in November, and most of them in a presidential election season. Why is that way in Chicago? It was intentionally designed so that it would suppress voter turnout by everybody but the political machine. Now the political machine has waned in its influence. It's not completely gone. But there are other special interests that are showing up at these elections. And so as a result, you have a machine, however you describe it, that re-elects incumbents, including the mayor.
The quota, I say it's a new machine. It's like these progressives that try to pretend they've used and adopted all the tactics to get what they want to get done, and they get to say, ooh, the boogeyman, those guys over there were bad, 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 bad. But they use and have perfected those same techniques. And I'm just going to tell you, for on the black side of town, when those policies and those people start taking, it still never winds up good for black people. But
And Maze, I want to interrupt. That is one definition of the Chicago way.
Okay.
You know, the term the Chicago way goes all the way back to Al Capone and even before Al Capone. But that's why we call the book The New Chicago Way.
So the new Chicago way. Why is it the new Chicago way?
Because it can change. There is hope. And the way you do it is, first of all, you got to get your head up, look around and see what other big cities are doing. That's what you said. You didn't realize how bad it was until you started talking to people other places.
All right. Somebody my mother-in-law came here and went grocery shopping. And when they asked her how much did she want to pay for the bags, she was like, what you mean pay for the bags? I mean, I think there are so many things here that we just don't even realize, that you just don't even realize.
Yes.
So how do we fix it, Ed? How do we fix it?
So first of all, you got to look around at how others are governed. You know, this is not rocket science. I wish I had invented the theory of relativity, but all Austin and I did was we just went to every city and said, how do you govern? So the first thing we discovered is that out of the top 15 cities, there are only 2 cities that do not have a city charter. A city charter is a constitution. It's where outside experts, you would be an excellent candidate for a charter commission to sit around and say, how should we govern this city? You come up with recommendations, and then you present them to voters, and the voters have to approve it. That's the way it works in most major cities.
Really?
Yeah. And you're looking at me like,
Huh?
this is Greek.
This is.
That there are two that don't have a city
Yes.
charter, so that is.
Chicago and Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Chicago, Indiana and Indianapolis, they're very well-run city, but they have a whole unique state legislation environment for the city. But every other one, you take right on down the line, starting with
Even New York?
Los Angeles, Houston, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Dallas, Houston.
We don't want no constitution that nobody sent.
Yeah. You got it. And then if you do that, you start comparing other cities and you're gonna see a number of different things. We have too many aldermen. You need to cut it down to from 50 to at least 20 or fewer. Just to be the average nationwide, you need to prohibit aldermanic privilege so that you professionalize what's going on. We need an elected city attorney. We need an elected chief financial officer. We need to fill vacancies not by mayoral appointment. Only 2 cities fill vacancies by mayoral appointment. All the rest of them have special elections, or the city council selects those people.
Is it the same two that don't have a charter that fill vacancies by
No.
mayoral appointment?
The other one that fills them by mayoral appointment is San
Boston.
Francisco.
Oh, I was gonna say Boston, because you know Boston is another political town.
Yeah,
So
but you know the dance on when an alderman resigns.
yeah,
Yeah, they always do it right after they get reelected, and it's a dance. They go in and they talk to the mayor and said, "If I give up my seat, what are you going to give me in return?" So that they get something when they're partying.
so so here's the thing, and this is probably where I got a problem, because you obviously I grew up in Chicago. I learned the game Chicago politics, right? I just call that all part of the game, right? Like I feel like if you're going to do politics in Chicago, you got to learn how to operate with those rules. How do we change that?
Well, we talk about how, first of all, legalistically, you got to have a state law that allows for a charter, and preferably.
Now, do you know who the boss of the state is?
Yes.
Hey, we ain't getting no charter. You crazy? Do you know Mike Madigan ain't letting you change up his money?
Well, there is a political obstacle there. Yeah, no question about it. But when the manure hits the turbine,
Oh, the manure hits the turbine.
then people are going to look around and say, what do we need to do here? But before that, what I would like to see, and what I hope the book will incite, is young professionals like you to realize there is something we can do and get a movement started so that we can change state government and city government constructively, and we need to do it now before it gets bad.
I thought it was
And
bad.
you pretty much lay out the blueprint as to alternatives to
Yes.
start to elicit change.
Stay to the mic. To the mic. Go ahead. All right. So Ed, tell us how we get the book.
Okay, the book will be published. This is the first interview that I've done.
Oh, all right.
You
So,
got the scoop.
all right, we got the scoop. Now, tell us where will the book be available?
The book is available for pre-order right now on the website of the publisher,
Okay.
the Southern Illinois University Press.
Oh, okay.
This is a peer-reviewed academic book. This is not just 2 guys self-publishing. So you can do that, and then by January it'll be on Amazon and Kindle.
All right. Well, look, that is Ed Backrack. Check out his book. It's coming out. It is The New Chicago Way. Himself and Austin Burke, 25-year-old guy in the 69, did you say? 25 and 69. That's what I call intergenerational. Now, look, I'm going to tell you, Ed. The challenge is when you start coming up with these policies, it always seems like black people lose. So y'all got to figure out how black people win in this deal too. Hey, it's the Talk Chicago 1690. Pick up the book. It's available on Amazon and online in January. Pre-orders available now. The New Chicago Way. It's Ed Backrack. And man, get them suits back, man. We need the catalog. It's Talk Chicago 1690. We'll be back. So Ed, you got some history in the.
If you'd like, I can email you a copy of it.
Oh, I would love an email copy too. I don't think I got
So
that.
you gotta give me your cards or your email address.
Okay. How'd you hook up with Austin? Oh, because you're in the Illinois Policy Institute.
Illinois Policy, but one thing I found out is that we went to grade school right down the street from where I had my office in Decatur.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? I want to take a picture I want to take a picture with you now because I'm going to tell you, we literally used to go through that book, that
I'll do it on
catalog.
my phone and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'm
not
a
dressed
photographer,
properly.
though, either. Okay, I like 5.
Thank you. Ed, thank you for coming
Okay,
in, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm
Okay.
intrigued. Wait, let me give you my email address.
Okay, and we Mays.
Yes.
You got a card, man?
I don't have
Are
a
you
card,
still
but
Mays at Mays Jack?
yep.
Okay.
Now, Ed, do you live in the city or are you coming from Decatur?
Both. I have a home in Decatur.
Okay.
Still,
Okay.
and I live in the city.
Okay.
And I go back and forth.
And so, are you like? So you still have some stores, right? Just one?
No, they closed them all down early.
Even the one in
Woodfield, even the one in Woodfield.
Really?
Yeah, CN. We were in business 141 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The apparel industry.
Yep. You want me to get a piece of paper and you
I
write it all
have
down?
paper. I was just looking to see if I had one of my cards on me. Do you have an ink pen over there?
You know, I don't have anything. Oh, yeah, I do. Here. Here you go.
Hi, this is Teresa D, your host of the Let's Get to Work show, where we talk about jobs.
All right, y'all. Ed Burke, $1.5 million under investigation. And they was lined up. That's crazy.
I feel like I'm about to learn so much. I'm intrigued.
Take a moment, share the broadcast. Who is rocking with us? Clifton, you're going to have to start advertising, bro. Hey, let me give y'all another chance. Y'all want to see the young MJ?
Perfect.
Thank you
I
very
hope,
much.
I hope I see you guys on the charter commission.
Man, are you putting it together?
I'm not, but you all should.
You know.
Get on the movement.
Uh-oh. Thanks, Ed. Hey, y'all. So right now you are watching the young MJ bust him up. Go ahead, MJ. This can be your commercial one day, too. So, if you are running for alderman or you're running for elected office, would you like to have a campaign commercial during the WVON morning show? How about during the Facebook Live broadcast? Y'all missed that. Boom. They got the stop record button and the camera are too close. That's why your broadcast keeps stopping. Because I keep hitting the wrong button. Man, and the switcher has a pretty big delay. I got to check it and see how deep it is. Can I change it? Take a moment, share the broadcast.
Yeah, but no, I feel like that was right on par with what we were just talking about. He said, just like he's talking about changing the city.
Look, Todd got on a back rack suit, y'all.
Ha, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, in Chicago, Ridge Mall had one too.
Yep.
Did Fort City?
Everybody had one.
Yeah.
He said he was losing on that deal, so that was not good.
Yeah, I was
Wait,
like,
what were the other stores at that time too?
Chess King.
Oak Tree. Remember Oak Tree?
Ooh, Oak Tree, Chess
Tree had the
King.
County
Cool.
Fair. You remember County Fair?
Oak Tree. Chess. What was it? What did you say? Chess.
Chess King.
Chess King. Yeah.
DJs.
I used to love Oak Tree. They had limited selection of quality, but the quality of stuff that they had was
Structure. Remember when Madigan's? Remember there used to be a Madigan's
No.
in Yorktown?
No, I didn't. I never went to. I was, either Chicago Ridge, Fort City, North Riverside. Maybe I'd go to Orland. I
Anybody
stayed-
interested in don't forget, it's coming, my birthday. The Great Super Bowl Staycation. We taking over the Freehand Hotel for a weekend. You're not going to the Super Bowl? Check into the hotel on Friday and party with us all weekend.
Oh, this sounds like a hotel you check into and you may not check out of.
Oh, you will. We're taking over a whole floor at the Freehand. We got.
You could start promoting this in a casual live read kind of way. You don't have
They're
to read
taking.
it.
How long is it?
But this is about 35 seconds.
No, how long is this?
There is anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it'll take that whole block. You're fine.
Man, structure. What was the one with all? Remember Limelight?
I remember structure.
The club or the place?
There was no. The people used to, as a club. No, the Limelight was the club.
Yeah.
But there was a store that everybody who went to Limelight shopped at in Bolingbrook. Did y'all see the MJ videos yet? Dang, this sucker is way behind.
Did you see Domitty's video?
No.
Domitty's working for MTV News now.
I got.
And he does a daily feature on Twitter.
You know how he got there, right?
Yeah, I remember. His first one was yesterday, and he talked about George Bush for like 6 minutes. It was like a 6 minutes recap of his life.
Doma Tizzle. Proud of the little homies. You know, one day in this world, one day, I'm going to have a collection. I'm going to just write a list. And I'm going to say, you ain't got to say shit except thank you. One time.
I think people will the minute you stop expecting it. I think you gotta stop expecting
I don't expect it. I mean, I think.
it. You do. You do.
No, I think this. I think that if you want people to continue to, and it's not, there are different stages. And I think Domitty is definitely not one of those people. But I think there's plenty of people who have benefited. We'll talk about it later. I don't even want to go down that path. What up, Juanito?
I smell like smoke, don't I? Am I smoking up the? I wasn't last. Oh, we got.
I expect the same props. I'm not. Always say thank you. For this long, this right. Exactly. Yup. And others. Not my brother. When the barrel's in your mouth. L-I-I-E. You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson, and sitting in with me as she has been all week is Miss Quinn Bryant. Hey, y'all, and check it out. You know what? I think the difference in how black people and white people are treated politically is on full display right now. Now, you may ask me, Maze Jackson, where is that coming from? And I'm going to tell you it's coming from the observation of what is right now going on with 14th Ward Alderman Ed Burke. Now, for last week, I don't know if you all recall, but we talked about the fact that Alderman Burke's office was, the feds came to City Hall. They covered all the windows, they papered the windows, and they basically took over his city office and his ward office. And if that happened to a black person, they would be running them out of office, right? Think about when a black person gets in trouble for going to the casino, right? And the feds come investigate. It's front page news. It's everywhere. And nobody wants to talk to them anymore, right? Yesterday, in spite of a federal investigation, Ed Burke held a fundraiser where people stood in line for up to an hour to pay a minimum of $150 and shake his hand. Now, I just want to point back to, do y'all remember when Dorothy Brown's phone got taken? Remember that? Her phone got taken. The Democratic Party they took, what did they say? They said she was under investigation. Now, mind you, she's got that phone back. The Democratic Party immediately went to unendorse her, right? They threw her overboard, and she had to run without the support of the party. Tell me, how does it work that when you are black and when you are white and under federal investigation, there's no, like, people lined up to give him more money. They said this was his biggest fundraiser in 10 years. Now, I just want to do the math for you. 1,000 people times $150 each. That's the minimum. What's that for me? Give me some numbers on that. That's 1.5 million. That's in one night. Now, at the same time yesterday, I was sitting with at least 8 city council aldermen who don't make that in 10 years.
That's 150,000. I just wanted to clarify.
150 times 1,000?
150 times 1,000. So that's 3 zeros. 150.
150 times, wait.
I just.
Okay. So so he did 150,000 last night. Okay, dad, 1.5 million. I messed that one up. Look. So even at $150,000, Ed Burke has $19 million in all of his collective accounts. How does that work? How do you become a multi-millionaire as a public official?
Your supporters?
But I'm with you on your supporters.
That was a question mark, so.
Oh, I would say your supporters, but he only has one vote. No, but he's got one vote. And I'm not tripping, because I don't want no problems. But I want us to understand how this game works. So as a matter of fact, I was with his power sharing companion last night. Not companion, but comparative. So budget and finance are to be the same. None of them say, this Alderman Kerry Austin has helped all of them same people. All of them. Every black alderman has helped all of them. Right? But they don't feel obligated to assist them.
Is it that they don't feel obligated or that it's not demanded?
No, you can't demand it. You can't demand it. You can't,
Outspoken, I mean. Not like a verbal, but like.
Dang, I lost it
already
again.
know.
Well, no, it's not a you already know. It is a system that has been created that we don't, as black folks, and even politically, have not really mastered. So when you write the laws to protect yourself. So basically what they've done is, remember I say we legislate, black people preside over the legislation of our demise. But wealth is legislated as well. Ed Burke legislates wealth. And then as he makes people rich, right? Because all those people lined up that were rich, even though for them to be rich, he's got the rest of the council got to vote on him. Then as I make you a millionaire, guess what I'm doing? I'm coming back to see you. And you saw those white folks was happy to be in line and say, I am with Ed Burke in spite of. Now, I'm not tripping, but I'm going to say that $19 million controlled in campaign accounts as a small attorney, right, that has a piece of every business that comes through the city. From Unite, if you want to get something done, you go through that. But my point is, and then 19 million, and he ain't never going to jail. How many aldermen have been indicted or gone to jail since he's been, right? Why come he can't give them the same people that same advice he used? But I'm going to tell you how it works, guys. Actually, I'll tell you about it, how it works when we come back. It's Talk Chicago 1690. Look at y'all. Dang, I failed math too. I'm getting all the texts. How did I do that? Oh, it's Talk Chicago 1690. We'll be back. What the hell was that? Was that me? Where did that come from? Damn, y'all, I killed the broadcast again. If I got fat fingers, I got to stop spinning the camera. Oh, God, this is blowing me. They got to move the button. That's what it is. Or I got to get smaller fingers. Or take a moment, share the broadcast, pick it back up. I'm sorry, we're back. I'm going to have to hide all the other ones. Edit post. Sorry, guys. Oh, Lord.
Look, you want to know what my horoscope said today? Avoid arguments about politics.
That
I
would
wish
be,
I would have read that.
that'd be avoid my life.
What sign are you, Maze?
Aquarius. Aquarion. Not that I know what any of that shit means.
If you're dealing with a friend or group and you feel like something fishy is going on, it is. Or possibly you're confused because it's hard to know what's really going on and trust your situation. Postpone important decisions until Friday. You like,
Yeah,
nah, I'm just not gonna know.
no. Hey, y'all, speaking of that, check it out. I'm speaking at the Publicity Club of Chicago today. Pretty high-profile panel. I'm excited. I'll be talking with Bob Feeder. Will be moderating the panel, which is the Chicago media guru. I will also be on the panel with Greg Hines from Crane Chicago Business. Publicity Club is Chicago is one of the oldest and most established public relations societies, and I am in their year-end closing event. So I'm pretty honored to be in that. I am using a switcher. No, Tanil, I would have the same problem on Android too because my fingers are big. I got big fingers with little buttons. And to turn the camera around is right next to the disconnect button. And you can't stop it. Thank you. Close. Right now, share. See, like I need like a what do you call it? A stylus to do that. Edit. Paste. Watch WVON.
Yeah, you talking to me, or you talking to him?
I'm just talking in general.
Maze, start the charter. I'll help.
You know what? I gotta do, man, I ain't got time to start something else. I just don't. I really don't. It's like everybody be like, and it all sounds like a great idea until I mess with somebody's paint pens, and then the next thing then everybody mad about paint pens. I'd be like, you know what? Working with and I'm special. I got special needs when it comes to working. Woo! If you want it, it can have. I stay woke. Stay woke. You are tuned in to the Shot Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. I'm going to tell y'all, it is too funny to me, the WVON morning show, because we got some great listeners. And we got listeners that call from everywhere. And you know what? Shout out to my man, Tom Donovan. I know you're probably not supposed to say his name out loud, whatever. But shout out to Tom Donovan listening on his ride into the city of Chicago. Man, I bought a lot of suits from Back Rack. And you know what? I want to apologize to everybody, all of my teachers in Bolingbrook, for my math failure. Right? That wasn't ever my strong suit. Can y'all tell I was an English major anyway? I was trying to put the zeros together, but I was a little tipsy when I was doing it. So maybe that's what happened. But look, South Chicago, 1690 AM. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you. So I need to start out by saying I'm not mad at Ed Burke. I'm not.
Right.
That's gangster. And I'm going to tell you, if I would be kind of proud if I was him, because if you know, I believe that you stand by your friends. And you stand by your friends even when it's not convenient. And you stand by your friends even when they get in trouble. Now, you don't get in trouble with them. But if you can help them, it's not my friend when I don't need you. It's in these times. And so I'm not so much mad at Ed Burke, but saying, man, how do we get to a point where black folks can get $19 million in the bank, not worry about getting indicted, not worried about getting in trouble, and be able to help their community? Have you seen? Because all his guys, you ever been to an Ed Burke fundraiser? You like, no. Okay, well, let me just tell you what happens at the end. You know how you go to the bar, like you go to somewhere and they got that bottle at the top, the one, that Remy. What is it? The Remy with the fancy bottle with the crystal top and the I can't think of Louis. The Louis. Oh, they pull the Louis off the top when you go to Ed Burke's, and they bust the bottle out.
About $50, $200.
A shot, and they all be lined up in the bottom at the base at the end. You take a shot. You take a shot. Then they argue over the $10,000 bill because they make so much money. You think about how many millionaires Ed Burke has made. You know what? They're all going to come back to help him because he helped them. We got to have a system like that.
Listen to what you said. They're willing to help him because he helped them. So many times our situation is one-sided. And that's why people don't stand next to people in time.
I think it's bred in us, though. I think that most people, in the grand scheme, are takers, and they'll take as much as they can get until you say, "Hold it."
You draw your line in the sand.
And I think that we black folks need to create a pipeline, right? We need to develop our own network of millionaires. Because let me tell you. There's all tiers. There's millionaires. Then there's thousandaires. There's emerging people. There's employees. And when you look at that web of people that showed up, that web of people showed up because there's a whole network of people underneath them. Think about all those business owners and all of their employees.
Yep.
Right? Think about all of the lifelines So we can look at it from a nefarious position, or we could say we need to have black aldermen who can make people like that, because I'm going to tell you, if you looked at that thing, I bet you it's at least a couple $1 billion in income families. If you think about all the annual salaries of all the people, it's a lot of livelihoods tied up in that.
Yeah, I think we don't do that now.
I don't think we do it, because I think that all we see is, and I think that part of what people don't understand about politics is that it's about helping people. Now, it's about helping people make better lives. And so when you get that, and I think that's what the Irish guys got. The Irish guys said, we're going to use this tool to make our lives better. That's why when you drive to Beverly, and it's the O'Shaughnessy's and the O'Malley's, and they got their own little school, they don't ever ask, when you go to the little parishes, they don't ask, can we get some child care subsidy? They ain't fighting the government. They ain't saying, give us a road bill. We got to start thinking like bigger. Can I tell you what? What black person has the power to summon up $150,000 in a night? Because y'all votes are the same. Your votes are the same. Ain't no shade, but you remember I told you yesterday about how do black people get ahead? Not yesterday, today. Louis Arroyo stood up at the MWRD meeting in front of all the white people and said, I'm taking mine. We through waiting for y'all. After the unions told him he couldn't do it, after the party told him he couldn't do it, he said, we taking ours. And everybody sat there and kept quiet as it's kept. He did it. Black folks, when we gonna take ours? When we gonna stop asking and take? Let's talk. I mean, because I'm saying you take. I'm gonna tell you like this: Alderman Carrie Austin, she should be as powerful as Ed Burke. She got the same vote. All the Black Caucus, Rod Sawyer, be as powerful as Scott Wagenspack. Well, I don't know how powerful he is, but look, y'all, we gotta stand up. It's like, because there is no Calvary. Nobody is looking for you. Ain't nobody coming to save you. And quiet as it's kept, if you stay broke, I probably should have went to the Ed Burke fundraiser too. Because the broke people sitting around talking about, we broke, boss. Meanwhile, they building their families up. They are taking care of theirs for generations. We can't even take care of ourselves. Let's talk Chicago 1690. We'll be back.
What you were just talking about reminds me of the party.
That's what it is. He is Whitey Bulger. He is a Fed. Man, dude is everything. He is. If you look at him, you like, damn.
Madison,
shit. YouTube done froze. I done turned. I'm sorry. All right, y'all. Take a moment to share the damn broadcast. Whoa, Lord. What's up, Tiger? What up, Tyrone? Alex, when we gonna have a 25th Ward debate on the morning show? Have you all shared the broadcast? No, because everybody's getting in their car right now. Would you like to see another MJ Balls? No, you don't. How about... Oh, God. I think I can only upload 5 screens. Who's rocking with us still? What up, let me see. Dang, this sucker is so far behind. What up, Shonda? It's not Facebook. It's my fat finger. See, the buttons are too close. If I could show them to you, I would. What up? Actually, Apple does have a pen that I could use, Tennille. I just didn't buy it. Now, I can charge it to the account if you'd like. We can look at the AT&T bill and you'll find another new device. And you'll be like, damn, how many more you gonna buy? You know it is Christmas time, so I have to buy myself all of my Christmas presents. So don't be surprised if the Apple Store shows up on the bill. Oh, you should, Tennille, give me a video for Harlem Globetrotters and I'll put it in there. What up, Tom Watson? Getting ready for the Publicity Club of Chicago. What up, Matthew Olivier? What up, brother Donald?
I hope that camera wasn't.
No, it wasn't. What up, Marjorie L. Tatum? What up, Roberto? Are you interviewing him as well, like you interviewed Dan? Nah, I ain't gonna interview him probably. He don't want to come on the morning show.
Have you ever done radio before this?
No.
So you had to learn this and this.
Yeah. Ain't nobody caring no damn. I'm telling you, them Androids are whack. You're lame. No one says, "Oh, let me see your Android."
Branding.
Thank you, Tim King. To my wife, will she be on what panel? No, the panel is today at 11:30 to 1. And it is all the top PR professionals of the year. Actually, I'm excited because I'm going to be on the panel with Susanna. Remember, she used to do Susanna in the Sun Times? I wanted to be in that all the time. It's so crazy, like all the people who I used to admire in the media are like, oh, I watch your show. I check you out. It's kind of weird when you go places now and they're like the people that you see on TV you want to take pictures with. They be like, hey, man, when you going to put me on the show? I'll be like, when you have me on the show. Paris Schutz. Paris, when you gonna have me on Chicago Tonight? Maze, you're on Channel 7. You're on Windy City Live. Why do you want to do Channel 11? Because I am a political geek, and if I could be on Chicago Tonight, I would finally feel like I have accomplished the Chicago media rounds. It's the last bastion. Maze, I wouldn't think you would even want to come on my show. Dude, do you know I'm a media whore? No. I'm just saying. Chicago Tonight. It's my last one. Not my last one. Check me out. I think I'm doing BBC next week. International. See if you can guess the song. Wake up!
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Rise and shine with the WVON Morning Show.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
Featuring Maze Jackson.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
The WVON Morning Show.
Wake up!
Call 773-591-1690. Wake up!
Boom, 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 boom. Dig, if you will, the picture. You and I engaged in a kiss. Sweat of your body covers me. Can you, my darling? Can you picture? Dream if you can, a courtyard. Oceans of violets in bloom, animals strike curious poses. They feel the heat between me. Yeah. How can you just leave me standing alone in a world that's so cold, so cold? Maybe I'm just like my father, too, but maybe I'm just like my mother. She's never satisfied. Why do we scream at each other? This is what it sounds like when doves cry. That is the Next Level morning music choice. When Doves Cry by the Purple One, Prince. You know what? The Purple Rain album. I told you that's where I got my game. The movie Purple Rain. I was like this schizo. Like I tried to be Prince and Morris Day all at the same time. So I told you I would show up to the club and stare at the girl. Then by the time she looked like, what the hell is he staring at, like the kid? Then I say something ignorant and then be like, whack, which is probably why I never got a girlfriend until I was all the way in high school. But the Next Level morning music choice is brought to you by Next Level, which is a Medicaid managed health care plan for people with Medicaid who live in Cook County only. The organization manages and coordinates the needs of their members one-on-one right in their own communities. Now, you call Next Level Health at 844-807-9734 or visit the website nextlevelhealthillinois.com for more information. Also, follow us on social media at Next Level Illinois. All right, y'all. You know, we called the Jason Van Dyke hearing the trial of the century, but I would argue that the trial of the century for Black Chicago is going on right now. It is probably one of the least talked about cases that I've seen for what it could eventually mean to us as it relates to breaking down the blue code of silence. The 3 officers charged with filing false reports, which is essentially to protect Jason Van Dyke's murder of Laquan McDonald. They're on trial right now. And to give us an update is WVON's own attorney on the spot, Miss Kimberly Agoin. Kim, what's cracking?
Morning, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm good.
So what we have to yesterday, the trial began again, or it continued. Prosecution entered a lot of emails into the record, which of course the defense, they do not want those emails in, but the judge is allowing them for now. And the emails were circulated amongst supervisors, not the 3 officers that are on trial right now, but supervisors who were discussing back and forth what happened on the scene, trying to get the story straight about what actually happened with Van Dyke shooting Laquan McDonald. And all of the emails really lead toward them coming up with the idea that Laquan McDonald was the aggressor. That has been the theme all along. So the prosecution is entering those emails to show a larger cover-up, a larger conspiracy, and the fact that these officers were also in league with trying to describe, in one case, even a gentleman who's not an officer, he's over the legal defense fund. He wrote one of the superiors, Andy Wojcik, and he said, what is our luck? Do we have any luck in making this case go away? So it's just showing all of these officers working together. The defense is arguing that those emails are not admissible. They're irrelevant because none of the officers on trial right now actually wrote an email. As a matter of fact, only one was even copied on one of the emails. So that's going to be interesting how the judge allows that to proceed. But ultimately, the prosecution rested. Yesterday, they ended their case, at which time the defense, they asked for what's called a directed verdict. That just means that the prosecution has given all of their case, has given all of the laws and all of their info, and that the judge should say we throw the case out because the prosecution hasn't proven anything. But the judge said, nope, the case is going to proceed. And on Thursday, that's where we're going to be. We'll be back in court again with the defense deciding whether or not they put their 3 defendants on the stand. I think they won't. Usually, in this case, the defense probably should not put their defendants on the stand. But the defense feels pretty strong. They feel strong that all this comes down to are a few mistakes that were made on the forms. Not anything criminal, just mistakes. And the officer's point of view was different from the prosecution, was different from other people's point of view, so they put that on the forms.
So, help me understand. Give me a sense of what's going on. Do you feel as though that the case has been proven on the prosecutor side? And obviously this is subjective, but do you feel like the prosecution has put on a good case? It seems like it's going pretty quick.
It is going quickly, but so it's hard to say because they're trying to say, so you have three different charges also: official misconduct, meaning that these officers did something so out of line with what they're supposed to do as police officers. But all the conspiracy is what the defense is focusing on. They're not even focusing on the other two, it's the conspiracy. They are trying to say that these officers did not even know each other before the night of the event. And on the night of the event, they did not get together to conspire to conceal anything. The prosecution is saying, however, when everybody writes the exact same words, they say swinging knife, not slashing knife or something, everyone used the same word, the exact same terminology on the forms, then they had to sit together to conspire to lie. And that the judge is going to be the ultimate decider of whether or not these officers got together to lie about what happened on that night.
Now, Kim, it sounds like very much like the petition process. Like they were round tabling. They were sitting at a table. All of the cops got in the room and said, because, right, isn't it 24 hours? You can't even question the cops for 24 hours after they kill someone. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's your union contract. The officer has the right to not be questioned. They took him in a room and allowed him to look at the video. But here's the other thing. All the other officers were there looking at the video, too. So that's where the judge is going to have to really think, why would all of these people get together and sit in a room and keep looking at a video over and over again? And don't forget Dora Fontaine. Will this judge believe an officer who has changed her statement several times, but has been very firm about the idea that one Detective March, is the one who told her to write certain things on the form and then later on wrote that she said words that she did not say?
Man. So, Kim, what's going to happen in your estimation?
Well, on Thursday, the defense will have to present their case. I have no idea what witnesses they may have. It would not be wise for them to go, the defense can go ahead and just say we rest, but they have to put something on it. The judge has already said, as a matter of law, we are not going to end this case right now because the defense needs to say something. But the biggest question is, will they put their officers? Because right now, the defense is saying that the forms, everything that happened here was just a mistake. The forms, the way that the Chicago Police Department makes police officers write forms, they have an administrative problem in how the forms are labeled and what police officers have to write on the forms. So they're chalking it all up to be an administrative mistake instead of officers getting together and lying. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the defense finally puts on as their case.
I'm going to tell you what, I am hanging in cliffhanger suspense. I am hanging in suspense. So, Kim, we'll talk about it tomorrow, and you'll give us an update. All right, that is our very own attorney, Kimberly Agoin. Kim, we appreciate you giving us the update and the scoop and your legal perspective. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. Oh, she's gone. Hey y'all, 16 shots. I want you to be disturbed. I want you to. Because here's the deal. It was 16 times that somebody pulled the trigger and pumped those bullets into that body. We watched it jump. We watched the smoke come off of it. We all felt a certain way. Did it make you feel a certain way? When you hear those shots, does it make you feel a certain way? Then I want you to think about the person that watched that was on the scene, that looked at it, and said, just another day's work. I want you to think about the person that walked into the room after seeing the same thing that we saw and how jarring it was for us. And I want you to think about them going in the room and saying, okay, no thought of the body, no thought of the family, only thoughts of how do we write this Negro off? When you say, was it intentional, were they hunting? You want to say, nah, you want to not believe it until you flash back to the picture of the Chicago police officers with the young black man with antlers on his head, posing with rifles. And you say, dang, Sonia, you find my clip with the police officer when the young brothers are just walking through the neighborhood. They're walking through their own neighborhoods. And the police roll up on them. Police roll up on them. Tell them what they think. Tell them what they're going to do. Right? And so I need for you all to understand that this cannot just be okay. Police officers. This is how they talk to us on the street.
You said you trying to shoot
I killed
Oh, you killed
out here today.
and you just tried to hit me with the cop?
That's your Chicago police. They're negotiating a contract right now. Well, I asked, how do we get ahead in Chicago? How do we stay alive in Chicago?
But it's not a contract. Law.
Laws, contract, laws, contract. Laws that legislate how you can kill a black man and get away with it. That's on trial right now. That is what the trial is. The trial is not about these three white dudes. The trial is it okay to kill black people and conspire to do it? That's what it is. It's not about, oh, they made a mistake on the form. That was a lie on the form. You lied. And this case isn't getting a lot of attention. Like, nobody's really talking about it. But I'm going to tell you, if these boys get off of this, I don't care what the sentence is, but if they get off of this, and I would argue that they need to go to jail longer than Jason Van Dyke. I would argue that. Because this is the blue code of silence on trial. They get off. The police then say, man, we straight. I feared for my life. You'll know the statements. You'll hear them. I feared for my life. The suspect turned and he put a gun on me. And as long as they all corroborate, it'll be another dead black man. I'm telling you all right now, you're not hearing me, but I am telling you that the blue code of silence is on trial right now. They get away with it, there will be more black deaths. I'm not saying it's not going to stop. It's going to stop. But I am going to tell y'all that there will be more strange fruit, but it won't be hanging. It'll be laying in the street. Think about the bodies. Think about how many black murders or deaths or kills we've seen this year. Think about Betty Jones. Think about right now, Robert Riamo sued and got his gun back. Dead black woman. Black folks. We are in Chicago right now. I'm lost sometimes. I drive down the street and I say, is nobody seeing this? Is nobody feeling it? Like, are you not? How do we wake up?
I think people are awoke. It's just the feeling of powerlessness and not knowing where to start.
Well, I'm going to tell you, y'all, we got to get started. And I don't know where we start, but I know right now, it's white folks sitting around looking like it's a whole bunch of cops sitting around saying, well, if this goes up, and Kim, y'all didn't hear Kim talking about she went to the place and she's surrounded by police officers sitting in the room protecting murder. When's the last time we saw a white kid killed, shot down dead in Chicago? How many people you think would be in the courtroom defending a black officer killing a white kid? I think they'd take him out to jail.
Do you think it would go to court?
No, I think that a black man, a black cop, know he can't shoot no white boy. Because the white cops on the scene and shoot him. Hey, y'all. Man, we just saw it. We're seeing it. Man, look at Jamel Roberson. This brother caught a shooter. And the police rolled up and killed him. And then dared Robbins to say something. Or else they'll kill. You got a cop saying, we kill motherfuckers. Where do we go, y'all? What's the plan? How do I look across and see my brother and say, he's not the enemy? That white man is the enemy. And I ain't saying it's just, let's be clear. And let's not make it enemy. But we know ain't nobody looking out for us. Ain't no Calvary. Ain't no Calvary. Speaking of that voice right there, I just want to take a moment and acknowledge again the passing of Reverend James Bass. Now, I want to let you all know that the funeral services, the memorial services will start at Gatling Sunday, December 9th. The viewing will be from 2 to 3. The program will be from 3 to 7. Woo! That's a long one. And then on December 10th, it will be at the House of Hope at 9 to 10:30 a.m. for the viewing and 10:30 to 2:30. There will not be a final reveal, and the burial will happen on Tuesday, December 11th at Sunset Memorial Gardens. Hey, y'all. Shouts out to the Bass family. It's the WVON Morning Show. For Annette Florino in the newsroom. For Miss Sonia Escobar, the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. For Quinn Bryant, I am the host of the WVON Morning Show. And if you don't like it, you can just tell them Maze said. We out of here. Peace. BB! Shout out to the Reverend James Bass. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Now I gotta go get ready for for the Publicity Club of Chicago. I'm out of here. Peace. All right, young Quentin. You are welcome. You are welcome.